Your uncomfortable triggers are calling you home. And this is going to be the best realization that you have on your manifestation journey. I'm Beyond Taylor, and I am here to help you go beyond your self-imposed limitations. So today I really want to talk about triggers, primarily uncomfortable triggers, because we do have triggers that can be very comforting, like when you smell a scent and it takes you back to your childhood home, cooking with your mom or your grandma. Anything that elicits an emotional reaction and takes us back to a memory is a trigger. But in this video, we're primarily going to be talking about uncomfortable triggers and how it really is going to be the best tool that you use when it comes to your manifestation, your conscious creation journey. A lot of times when you get triggered, your first line of action may be to avoid, to turn away, because you don't necessarily want to deal with the trigger because it's so uncomfortable. However, I'm asking you to lean in, to look into this trigger, and to really see what it's trying to tell you. I want to start off with this quote, right? Be grateful for your triggers. They point to where you are not free. And I think that's so beautiful, because if you're being triggered by something, it's showing you that there is a belief, there's a pattern of thoughts strung together, which is a belief that is pulling you out of alignment with what you deeply desire or with how you want to feel. So when there's a trigger and it stops you dead in your tracks, whether you're on social media, which I think is a huge trigger, or you're out and about watching something on TV, whatever the case may be, when this triggers you and you have a strong emotional reaction, more like a repulsion to what you're seeing, is showing you that you have a belief somewhere inside of you in your subconscious mind that is keeping you out of alignment with what really needs to be seen in this moment. Because a lot of times it's what you want. It's as like when you become triggered by something, it's because there's a desire that's there, and then there's a belief that's saying like, but that can't happen for me. So that's why it feels so uncomfortable, because now it's creating this resistance. The energy can't flow as freely to get you to open up to how this desire is possible for you, or to get you to see the opportunities, because there's some type of belief set up that like this isn't possible for me. And I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with like your childhood, or maybe not even 100% to do with your childhood. It could be something that happened a year ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, that just elicited a strong emotional response out of you that ingrained itself within your subconscious mind. Because remember, our subconscious responds off of feelings. So like it ingrained this strong emotion that imprinted on your subconscious mind, that now it's like influencing the way that you see the world. So that now when something happens that remotely symbolizes, or that's remotely similar to that experience, it literally initiates the same emotion that you felt the first time when you were in that experience. When triggers happen, our mind does not know the difference between what's happening in reality and what's happening in like what we're imagining. It doesn't know the difference between an imaginal act and what's happening in reality. So our stress response is going to be the exact same, as if there's literal danger. So we start to, like, the pupils get really dilated, our hearts start beating really fast, our muscles start to prepare for either fight or run, because we sense that we are in danger. And that's what happens when you get triggered. It literally feels like, okay, I need to prepare. Like your body is at like the sweat glands, it starts to pour out, because your body's like, we're either about to fight or we're about to run. Like it literally thinks that, because our brain, we still have that reptilian brain. So this is why it's so important to acknowledge that a lot of times this is just your imagination. Most of the times, right? It's your imagination, unless there's real physical danger. Most of the time, this is your imagination that is making you believe that, there's something to be worried about. And before we have fight or flight, but now we have freeze, which has become a trauma response, right? It's not even in our biological nature to freeze, but that's a trauma response, where when our triggers come up, we freeze, we avoid, we deny. So this video is going to be about how to become safe when these evolutionary responses come up, or in these not so evolutionary responses, which is like the trauma response, which is to freeze. How can we become safe with these triggers so we can look into them, see the beliefs, and transcend them, alchemize them, so that we can show up as our absolute best self, feel our absolute best, be able to remain still in the middle of a storm. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what triggers actually do. We're going to be talking about how to befriend your triggers, my favorite part. And then we're going to talk about how to transmute them. So let's get right into the video. Triggers shine a light again on the aspects of yourself that need healing. I love this quote by Teal Swan. She says, "The people who trigger us or cause us to feel negative emotions are messengers. They are messengers for the unhealed part of our being." And I think this is so true, because a lot of times we like to point the finger at what's triggering us or what's making us feel uncomfortable, right? You did this to me. This circumstance is making me feel this way. These thoughts, like we're always pointing the finger instead of seeing that, oh, wait, this is showing me that there's an aspect of myself that needs attention, that needs healing, that have been neglected for a very long time. So especially when people trigger you, instead of being like, and again, trigger just means elicit a strong emotional response. So when somebody elicits a strong emotional response from you based on like something they've said or their actions, take the attention off of them and turn the attention inward. Start to like listen to what is the narrative behind this strong emotional response. And a lot of times it'll say, this person did this to me, this person is making me feel this way. But take that even deeper. Like, why is this person making me feel this way? Like, what do I believe? Because if I said to you, let's say you're a woman, and I say to you, you're a man. You know you're a woman, so why would you get so, like, you wouldn't get super defensive about that unless you are dealing with some type of like identity issues, or you're dealing with some type of like sexual orientation issues. I don't know, but like somebody who you know that you're a woman and I say you're a man, or like the issue is going to be within you. So maybe you're dealing with like a self-worth issue, or you're dealing with like a confidence issue or a self-image issue. So maybe you have a belief that you look like a man. So when I say you're a man, that's going to trigger you. But that's coming from the belief that you hold, that you think you look like a man. But if I go to somebody who knows that they're beautiful, knows that they're, they're confident in their feminine outlook, if I go to them and I say, you're a man, they're going to say, what? I'm not a man, I'm a woman. And that's it. There's really no defense, or there's no trigger or no emotional response, because they don't have a belief that would even support what they're saying. So that's why if somebody comes up to you, or they do something to you, or a circumstance happens and it creates a strong emotional response, you have a belief that is aligned with that, and you don't want to have that belief. So you're trying to figure out how to sorry, I heard the baby. Okay, hopefully I can remember what I was saying. I had to get the baby. She's back there playing. If you hear any noise, somebody on my last video, they were like, do you have a cat? Because it was Samaya screaming. And I'm like, no, that's my daughter. But anyways, you're trying to defend it because you have a deep belief that this person may be right. So like if you're arguing, or this person is shining a light on behavior that you do yourself, right? It's shining a light on an aspect of yourself that you don't want to confront. So if you have like a partner or a family member and their behavior repulses you, their behavior is like really annoying or irritating, look within yourself and see where you also do that thing. Because a lot of times it annoys us so much because we can't change it within ourselves, or we can't accept it about ourselves. So we get upset with them because they're literally the personification of this thing that we don't even want to look at within ourselves. So that's the purpose of triggers, is to really just keep shining a light back on ourselves and see like what in it within us have we not accepted, or have we believed that isn't true? So that's the point of triggers. I want to share this other quote. A trigger is anything that sets you off emotionally and activates memories of your trauma. It's particular to you and what your experience has been. Triggered, we revert to the feelings and behaviors we had in a traumatizing situation. And this is from Healing from Trauma, a page on social media. If something happened in your past, let's say someone says a really ugly remark to you about your features. Let's go back to the man and woman thing. Somebody said you had really broad shoulders, or you always got picked on because of you had a deep voice, or because people say you kind of like you have an Adam's apple, whatever the case may be, right? And as a kid, you didn't really know how to process that. It was just like, oh man, people are making fun of me. Maybe you weren't taught how to like really deal with the emotions that comes from people picking on you. So that left a deep emotional scar. So now when somebody says you're a man, that same emotion is triggered, like as if you're back to when you're a 12-year-old kid in 6th grade, and or however whatever grade you're in, 7th grade, and somebody's making fun of you. It's just traumatizing. It's just very traumatizing. Or the action that you're repulsed by in another person, or in a circumstance that's shining a light on this behavior within you. Maybe somebody told you when you were a kid, you shouldn't behave that way. So now when you see others behaving that way, it annoys you. It really irritates you, because the same feeling that you felt when somebody told you you shouldn't do it, it just gets ignited when they do it. Okay? So that's why I really like that quote. And I feel like I said the same thing twice, but just to really hammer in that this is about you. It's not about the person. It's not about the circumstances. It's not about the situation. It's not about that at all. It's always going to go back to you. And that's how you're really going to heal. So part 2, how to befriend your triggers. This is my absolute favorite part, because befriending your triggers is so beautiful. Like, you really form a relationship with all these aspects of yourself. And I like to say all these aspects of yourself because you have so many versions of you. You know how like you have that version of you where you're super pumped, you're super motivated. You're like, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to do my meditation, I'm going to do my night routine, and I'm going to go to bed at a decent time. But then let's say you get off work, you go home, you're tired, and where did that person go? Oh, now there's a new person. I just want to sit, eat junk food, watch TV. But then that other version of you was like, no, let's do this. And then the version of you that wants to sit and watch TV is maybe a little bit stronger. So we have all these aspects of ourselves, or we have the aspects of ourselves that like accept plans. Somebody says, oh, we should go do this. And you're like, yeah, I'm down. And then the next day or next few hours, you're like, why did I do that? Because we just have so many different aspects of ourselves, right? There's so many things that make up the I. We can't just say that we are just this one thing. We're not. There's so many aspects of ourselves. So when we start to befriend all these aspects of ourselves, we can create wholesome identity. We can integrate all of these parts of ourselves to create more of a wholesome, identity. So the way that I like to befriend my triggers are by observing without judgment. And that's really with like self-inquiry. One moment. Okay, I don't have much time because Samaya is not for it, but the way that I befriend my triggers are by just being aware of them, watching them as the witness, right? Not watching them from the identity of being Taylor, from the identity of being a separate self. I watch them as the consciousness, the unit of consciousness in which all objects rise and fall, in which all sensations rise and fall. And I just see that these uncomfortable emotion or these uncomfortable thoughts are just arising and falling in what I actually am, and I am not affected by it. It's like the sky, that sky analogy. The sky is not affected by storms. It's not affected by dark clouds. It's not affected by lightning. It just holds the space for these things, right? It doesn't matter how bad the storm is. The sky is just there as the holder, as the awareness, as the background, right? And we all are doing that now. There's this element of reality that's just always in the background that goes so unnoticed, because it's like kind of boring. It's like what's exciting about it. We usually take our attention to like objects in space, to sensations, to thoughts, to experiences, because it's changing, right? It's always calling our attention. It's exciting. Whereas what the objects are appearing on, which is just the presence, the space, the awareness, it's stable, it's unchanging. It's, at first, from the perspective of always having your attention on what changes, this doesn't seem exciting until you start to put your attention on it and you see how alive it makes everything else, and you see how it creates this interconnection. Excuse me, Rumi. Everybody's just on one today. Rumi shaking the camera. That's my cat. But yeah, it really shows this interconnection. And so when I rest as that, when I rest as the observer, when I rest as awareness, this conscious presence, this ever expanding, eternal, unaffected presence, then my triggers, I can see them more like objectively, which means like without putting my subjective ideas on them about what it means. I can just really allow the subconscious to pull up or to arise what these things actually mean, where these triggers are coming from, and then I can like have a conversation with them. Because when we give our triggers attention, it's going to start to talk, right? The subconscious mind is going to start to open up and say, like, let's say for example, anxiety's like, oh, I'm really afraid because, you know, I don't feel safe in like all this change that is occurring. And then we just sit there and listen without judgment. And then from this space of just being the witness, from this space of just pure fulfillment, pure like, I don't need you to change in order for me to feel good, we can ask, well, what do you need from me then? And anxiety can say, I need you to slow down. I need you to take a break. I need you to run because we're scared. And you say, no, anxiety, we're okay, you know? And then you just go back and forth and you have this dialogue. I like to say, I like to invite my uncomfortable emotions in, but all my emotions in, for like a cup of warm tea, and like set the table and say, all of you have a chance to speak. And the reason why I'm able to do this is because I've cultivated a practice, a self-inquiry practice of observing that these emotions are not me, that nothing is me. Anything that I can observe that rises and falls in the field of awareness is not who I am, because it's unstable. Well, it's not just who I am, right? It's an aspect. It's the mirror. It's the image. It's the image in the mirror. But like as we know, the image in the mirror shifts. But what witnesses the image in the mirror? It's stable. So I don't get so caught up in what shifts, and because I don't get so caught up with it, then it allows me to form a beautiful relationship with it. Just allow all your uncomfortable emotions, all your triggers to have a space to talk, to really just be there and show them that like, I'm listening to you, I'm here for you, I don't want you to change, I'm literally just here to hear you. And from here we'll be able to transmute them, which is part 3. We're going to go really quickly. But part 3 is all about how to transmute your uncomfortable emotions, how to alchemize them into a space of light. And one is just by accepting, and the accepting comes from like self-inquiry, by seeing that you are the awareness in which all these sensations rise and fall. And then 2, it's by reprogramming the subconscious. So when these triggers are coming up, it's because you have deep beliefs in the subconscious. So you want to reprogram the subconscious with beliefs that are going to align with what, really, somebody, you hit the microphone, that are going to align with the reality that you want to experience, that are going to align with these new beliefs that you want. I feel like I'm saying the same thing. I'm a little flustered right now because of the baby. Thank you guys for being patient with me and my 5-month-old. Oh my God, I can't believe she's about to be 5 months. Like, this is crazy. I keep looking over here because the microphone keeps stopping. Y'all, it's a lot. But you know what? This is how we move through life, right? We're perfectly imperfect down to the smallest degree. So yeah, reprogram your subconscious with self-talk, with sleep affirmations, with scripting, with anything that's going to elicit a strong emotional response, because that's how we impress the subconscious mind. And also, to alchemize your triggers, you want to imagine, use your imagination, because you're imagining yourself into these states that are pulling you back to the past. Just imagine some new states, or you can even revise the past, right? When these uncomfortable emotions are coming up, revise what happened to you, right? See as if, you know, people were kind to you. People have always respected you. People have always saw you as whoever you want to be, right? Use your imagination for that aspect, so that when these emotional triggers, when things are happening in your environment, it doesn't hold the same weight because that belief no longer is relevant because you did revision around that belief. So yeah, I hope that helps. And this has a lot to do with my 6-week workbook that I'm coming out with. It's called the Trigger Workbook or the Trigger Guide. It's just, or how to, I don't remember what it's called. It has to do with your triggers. I'll put it right here. I just finished writing it. I've been working on it for the last 3 months. This is my baby, y'all, because everything that's in this book, it deals with it deals with going into like resting as the awareness, right? Resting as the observer, so you can become conscious of the unconscious, so you can become conscious of like what's causing your triggers. And then every week it sets you up with different exercises, and I'll put like the what is in it right here. And it's just beautiful. And you journal every day. I'll give you journal prompts. There's exercises. And this is going to go hand in hand with the membership. So if you are joining the membership that is released in October 15th, this is mainly what we're going to have it revolve around. And there's going to be a whole bunch of other fun things. But really, it's going to be around this trigger journal. And you're going to have the support in there. There's going to be videos to go along with each week. But each week, we're really going to be diving into how to rest with our triggers, how to find safety with our triggers, how to like stand still in the midst of a storm, in the midst of chaos, so that we can learn the art of detachment, learn how to become unbothered when we're on the road to manifesting our desires, or when we already have our desires, but like we're finding that it's not bringing us peace and happiness. It has a lot to do with like these repressed beliefs and ideas that we have. So yeah, this is all over the place. I'm about to call it one. Make sure you guys sign up for the I'm sorry guys. Make sure you guys sign up for the group membership, where we're going to be talking all about the triggers and everything. And I love you guys, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.